Hi leeches, welcome back to my channel. As you know, Singles Inferno season 2 was a very hot topic recently. All of my friends were watching it. I also posted some YouTube videos discussing what I feel about the contestants when the episodes were coming out. A lot of my friends and I have talked about what kind of lessons and dating advice that we wanted to take away from watching this season. So today I'm going to summarize this into 6 of the main points and examples of dating advice that I think is applicable from Singles Inferno season 2. Number 1, if you really like someone, it's important to just be genuine and straight up and show your feelings. It really does not pay off to try to play mind games with them, to try to make them worried or insecure. A big example of this was in the last episodes when Sulky was choosing between Jin Young and Jongwoo. The comparison between the last 2 conversations, Jongwoo had been very consistent throughout the entire season in terms of his feelings for Sulky, and he took basically every opportunity he could to show that he was very serious about her, versus Jin Young, yeah, they did have a lot of cute moments and things like that, but he didn't go to the same extent to say hey, you're the only person that I care about here. Even at the end when Sulky asked him hey, have you made a decision yet? He was oh, it's not the last moment, so no, I haven't decided yet. So that was probably not the best move. I think that probably really contributed towards Sulky's decision to not choose him at the end. Number 2, understand when someone's not interested in you and take your time back and just use it to pursue other people. So one example of this was So-E. So at the first couple episodes, she was very hung up on wanting to talk with Yoonjae a lot, but I think around the middle of the season they had a straight up conversation where he just said hey, I just don't see anything going forward, and then So-E actually recognized that well and really backed off of him, and in the end she got to meet Sejun, so kind of a win for her. Basically, if you think the other person's not interested and they've you've tried your best, you feel even though you really like them, you know that they don't like you, just take the L and try to move on because you don't know what's around the corner. Number 3, being confident. So I think when Jin Young first arrived on the island, obviously a lot of the girls were interested in him. There was Sejong and Nadine who had been kind of talking to each other and both said hey, both of us want to talk to Jin Young. But then when they came out together and saw him, Sejong was way more, I guess, aggressive or straightforward and said hey, Jin Young, do you want to go walk towards the beach and let's look at the ocean and stuff? I think Nadine was I don't know, that entire scene was a little awkward because I think Nadine also was invited by Jin Young, but then didn't want to go and give them their time alone, and then followed them for a bit and then backed off again. I don't really know what happened exactly there, but basically it became an issue in the later episodes because Jin Young and Nadine really didn't have so much time to explore or have serious conversations with each other up until the very end, and they kept expressing that as well. They were oh, I'm curious about you, but I didn't really have a chance to talk to you. So I think the key point here is Nadine could have been way more confident in herself and just say hey, if I am curious about this person and I want to get to know more and talk with him, you should be able to be confident and express your feelings. I think I'm on number 4. You should consider how you act and not just how you feel. So I thought about this a lot, again, with the example of Sulky. At the end, she said something really key, which was hey, I wanted to end up choosing Jongwoo because this was someone that I feel liked me a lot, versus I always used to go after guys that I feel I like them more, and then it always doesn't really end up going too well. Even when you look as a viewer on the scenes that are Sulky and Jongwoo versus Sulky and Jin Young, I think you can see that Sulky is way more relaxed, she's herself, she's more calm and things like that around Jongwoo, versus with Jin Young, she seems you know, she's kind of giggly, nervous, that sort of situation. When I discussed this with my friends, they had some very interesting thoughts to share about this. So basically there's a theory of when you feel butterflies in your stomach, it doesn't mean that this person is the one. It means your body is telling you that you should run away. Basically that this signal can be an anxiety or your body telling you to go into fight or flight mode because you basically feel anxious or nervous. So I think the main tip here is to just kind of observe your own behaviors and how you're reacting naturally in the presence of another person. It can give you some really good signals. Okay, the next one. I think this is like somewhat of a variation of an earlier one that I talked about, but pretty much you can take the idea of if someone isn't putting in effort, you should take that as they're not very interested, or you should start perceiving that behavior as unattractive because basically they're not putting in effort on the other side. Essentially, it's important to kind of gauge the effort levels that you're seeing from the other person. So back to our favorite love triangle of Seolki, Jongwoo, and Jin Young, you can see that Jongwoo did so much to help Seolki out and make sure that she's always okay. Like there was a scene where she had the heat stroke when everyone else was having a beach day, and Jin Young stayed and played with everyone else in the water, whereas Jongwoo actually followed Seolki and make sure that she got like cold water, that she had some shade, that she could rest well. There was also another moment when they were in paradise and Seolki was like joking about her senior piano recital, and then she said like, oh, it would be nice if you got me like a coffee truck, things like that, to help show your support. And Jongwoo immediately was on it and he was like, yes, of course I would do that. Versus when they came back to the island, Jin Young was like really busy talking to other people. In my opinion, he really could have just said like, hey, it's great speaking with you, but there's someone that I'm interested in speaking with more, and then like go and try to get some time with Seolki. But of course he didn't make that effort, and I think the difference between those kind of shows. Okay, the last one is just paying attention and taking hints from the other person. So say that this is someone that you really like. I think we can actually just use the same example of the coffee truck situation that Jongwoo and Seolki had. Basically, what Seolki was trying to express was that, hey, I am very serious about my piano performance. It's like gonna be a big deal for her. Like, of course, it's like her college graduation and stuff, right? Jongwoo did not miss a beat. He was just like, yes, I am coming to support you, and bringing the coffee truck and waving a banner, whatever types of things. In a dating situation, I think that there's a lot of times where you're like, you know, nervous about how you're coming off, or you are trying to make the other person like you. All of it can kind of like get your head stuck, or you're not like being fully present. Just like listen to the other person and hear what they're saying. I think if you're able to listen to the other person, even if it's a high pressure situation, then you can learn a lot about them and use that to make very meaningful gestures that they will really appreciate and show that you care a lot about them. So I think that's a summary of the main points that I've learned. I would love to hear if you guys learned anything else from the show. It was definitely a super interesting season. If you did learn something cool, please comment it. Other than that, like, subscribe, and like I said, I made some other videos about Singles Inferno, so if you want to see those, they were probably linked. Okay, bye.